Happy Wednesday to the people. It is me, Mr. Hollywood, here to chat to the people on our weekly video, as I do every week. This week, as you may have just seen, Ashley has decided to grace us with his presence. He's taking time out of his busy day, the busy day in life of the comic store owner. Today, I'm going to have to play interview because we got the one mic hooked up. You know how it is.
You're doing your best Nas impression. I got his one mic.
So today we'll be talking about our most underrated comic book writers. Maybe not our most.
Personal preference. Yeah.
Yeah. Personal preference. This is no particular order, and there are many of these people who I'm sure are already on your radar.
Sure.
And some of these people as well would be, already well known, but they don't get their just desserts.
You might be like, underrated. Bobby, Ashley, what are you talking about?
They just might not get their dues, even though they are award winners or people who are already in the comic book pantheon of some. Mm-hmm. We feel that they may not get the praise they deserve in spite of that. So, starting us off, do you want to go first? You want me to go first?
I can go first, sure. Yeah.
Okay, well, Ash, take it away.
So my first choice is, I'll probably butcher the last name, but Doug Moench.
Okay.
Yeah. Wrote Volume 1 of Moon Knight. One of my favorite runs, period. He also did most of the Nightfall stuff. Again, and I'd say
like the Batman.
Yeah, the '90s Batman stuff. I think Nightfall was a fantastic storyline across many titles. Moench wrote a lot of them, but I think that it was just tied together really well. He's done lots of stuff. That's the main ones that come to mind for me that I enjoyed and feel don't get the credit they deserve. But yeah.
Okay. Ash kind of already saw me write out my list here, but I'm going to go ahead and first and foremost say a writer who I think is underrated is Joe Kelly. Now, I'm actually probably in the minority where Joe Kelly is concerned because I really didn't knowingly read a lot of his work. However, I did make a point when it was coming out, probably I want to say around like 2009 or 10 or somewhere in that neighborhood. Okay. There was a 7-issue long, I think it was, storyline. It was an Image title, I think. It was called I Kill Giants. Yeah. And they made a movie out of it or something like that. It's quite a touching little story. And it was one of the first times a comic book brought a tear to my eye. It's quite a little sad one. And I thought it was just fantastic stuff. Very well written, I thought. Really cool premise, and as it turns out, going through old Joe's back history of what he's written, his portfolio, he pretty much worked on like all the Marvel animation stuff, or much of the Marvel animation stuff back in the 2010s and around there. Cool. He also co-wrote some of the Ben 10 stuff, so all of the little youngsters out there, people like who are the generation after us.
Current Ben 10?
I think the older stuff. No, not comics. The TV show.
Oh, the show? Oh, that's cool.
I think.
Yeah.
Most notably, how most people would probably know Joe Kelly right now is... Joe Kelly, of course, is famous for giving Deadpool the personality that he now most commonly has, the kind of goofy, over-the-top, fourth wall-breaking silliness from what I gather. No shade to Rob Liefeld, the internet's favorite punching bag.
Yep.
Yeah. It turns out Joe Kelly worked on a little bit of everything over the years.
Very prolific.
Yeah, he's got quite the resume, sure. And I think that what he did for Deadpool, essentially, it's chicken and the egg kind of situation where Rob Liefeld and Joe Kelly are concerned, because it's like, if the design of Deadpool wasn't there, would Joe Kelly have had a framework to turn Deadpool into who he is?
Sure.
I don't really care about Deadpool very much. I care less about Rob Liefeld.
Yeah.
It is what it is, man.
It is what it is. Yep.
Who's your second pick, Ash?
So my second pick might have some DC enthusiasts screaming at their cameras or phones or whatever they're watching this on. John Ostrander is my second pick.
Okay, so for the folks at home, what did old John work on?
Tons of 90s DC stuff. In particular, my favorite, The Spectre. And I'm trying to think, him and I think it was Tim Mandrake did a lot of the art on those books, and they were criminally underrated.
Did you say in the 90s?
Like early 90s, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so like a dark time in comics, right?
Well, it depends who you ask, because I've been over on the show many a time,
Sure.
it seems like everyone wants to go back to the 90s, do all the 90s stuff all over again. So, you know...
Maybe it was more of a marketing thing that caused the...
Well, maybe too many copies of books being printed.
Sure, it had nothing to do with the quality of the books. I mean, like, X-Men was fantastic.
I think it did. I
Yeah,
think
maybe-
it had
maybe
something.
some
Like,
of it,
you
yeah.
know, some of these storylines were kind of whack.
Sure.
But-
Anyway, DC was killing it. John Ostrander largely wrote a lot of that stuff. It was great. That's my second pick.
All right.
Yeah.
My second pick comes to us from I want to say the shores of England, or somewhere over across the pond.
Sure.
I'm talking about Kieran Gillen. For me, I most fondly think of the work that he did working with Jamie McKelvey. I've talked about the two of them on the show before here, and
Yeah.
one of my favorite titles that Kieran Gillen worked on, I believe, is Phonogram, which is one of the most like crazily written comic books from what I remember of reading it back when I first read it, which got to be almost 15 years ago now.
I see you got Wicked and Divine on there too. That was a fantastic
that's like
read.
McKelvey and Kieran Gillen worked together on, I think, both Phonogram and Wicked and Divine.
Once in Future was
Yeah, Once
that
in
was
Future is
that
a
was
really cool
awesome
book.
read. Yeah.
Die is another popular one from Kieran Gillen.
Yep.
He actually used to be, I was reading the Wikipedia, so sorry if I got any of this wrong, but he actually used to be a video game journalist, I think, and focuses heavily on fantasy stuff from what we've seen. He was if you're into the more mainstream stuff, I mean, he worked on a lot of X-Men and other Marvel titles over the years. I think he's done some stuff with DC as well. So Kieran Gillen, though, his stuff is wicked and divine.
Oh,
So
pun intended.
that's a bad one. Anyway, who's your third pick, Ash?
So my third pick, again, probably going to have some backlash. More from a standpoint of people are going to be like, how do you call this guy underrated? And I'll explain. Jason Aaron is my third pick. I say underrated because I don't feel that he gets enough. He should be just called Mr. Consistency, because he never really writes like 12 out of 10, 11 like, but it's always 8 or 9 out of 10. It's always good, with the exception Scalped. Scalped is probably one of my that's early Jason Aaron stuff. You could argue, I would argue, some of his best stuff. His Thor run.
His Thor run is crazy. Yeah, I think there's like, it's right after Civil War, I think,
Yep.
or during, like he was writing at the time Civil War is coming out.
Sure.
I'm pretty sure there's the scene. I think Jason Aaron was writing around the time of Siege and a little bit before that, if I'm not mistaken. And there's that scene where like Iron Man rolls up because Asgard has come to Earth essentially. It's like hovering like 10 feet off the ground in some
Yep.
field in Iowa or something like that.
Right.
And Thor's, hanging out in Asgard, the floating island essentially. And then Iron Man rolls up and is like, hey, just letting you know, like, the U.S. government doesn't appreciate you being here.
Mm-hmm.
And then Thor says something like, he's like, I let, like, I let you like hang out with us, right? Like I could just crush you like a tin can if I
Right.
wanted. It's such a cool. You have to read it. I'm not doing it any justice, but it's so cool the way that he writes that. I'm like 98% sure that's Jason Aaron. Any story.
No, I think you're right, and I think that you could. The only reason I think you could argue he's underrated is because he might have fallen off the radar for a little bit.
He was doing Wolverine for a bit too, right?
So here's the he fell into this. I wouldn't say fell into it. The 2010 Marvel plague, let's call it, where they're like, Thor was amazing. They're like, okay, let's give him something else. So he did Wolverine. Like, oh, Wolverine's really good. Let's get him on the brand new Star Wars. So he starts writing Star Wars, and then after that, it's like, let's just get Jason Aaron writing everything, and then it just gets watered down, and you can tell he's rushed for deadlines and stuff because the creativity is just not there. Stuff feels pretty generic, still like readable, but like, he went from writing a few things really well to writing a bunch of stuff. Probably got overworked, fell out of favor with the fans, but he's been slowly making a comeback. Some of his Once Upon a Time at the End of the World, Boom Studios book. Me and Erica love that one. Bug Wars.
Oh yeah.
You want to talk underrated? Underrated as hell book.
He's doing the Ninja Turtle stuff right now too.
Yep, Ninja Turtles.
And I hear that that's pretty damn good too.
Yep. I'm trying to think. There was one other one that he was. Shoot.
Well, if it comes back to you.
Anyway.
And since we're taking a brief instant here, I just want to make a point. I had to look it up because I was thinking after I said Kieran Gillen worked on a bunch of DC stuff too. That's actually, I think, wrong. I think he's pretty much exclusively worked with just about everyone except for DC. Oh. He's done a couple of things for them, but not nearly as much as I alluded to earlier. So a little revision on my part from...
I'll have to read that Warhammer book.
Oh, yeah. He was working on... Like, Kieran Gillen worked on, like, Warhammer and... I think he did like a StarCraft comic or something like that too at one point. So yeah, he's his video game background was on full display.
Sure.
Well, that's a pretty good third pick, Ash. I have nothing but respect for the three choices. Mm-hmm. My third choice is probably off of a lot of people's radar, especially the old curmudgeonly 55 and up comic book reader who comes to the store and talks about how they haven't made a good comic since 1975.
But yet they keep buying Spider-Man because they're a completionist?
Yes. So
this book's terrible, but I'm going to keep buying it.
If you feel that they haven't made a good comic since 1975. Here's an author I'll point you to that if you can't have a good time reading these books, you're dead inside.
Check your pulse.
I'm talking about Kyle Higgins. Now, Kyle Higgins, I'm pretty sure that this guy, his list, I mean, if you go to the Wikipedia, it's definitely not as long. Or you go to Comic Geeks or whatever choice you want to have. You read the bibliography. It's not nearly as long as you'd think as compared to these other writers we've talked about who've been in the industry for a lot longer. Kyle Higgins is kind of new on the scene. Mm-hmm. His most notable ongoing stuff right now is probably Radiant Black, the series.
You're high on that stuff.
I love Radiant Black. It's basically where it's the crossroads for me of where Invincible and Power Rangers meet. And it's like done in such a cool way. The art's amazing. The writing is incredible too. He did all the tie-in stuff for like No One. Well, not all the tie-in stuff, but the guy's hitting home runs over there.
Those are all massive verse titles, right?
Yeah. The massive verse is kind of a not nearly talked about as much as it should be, in my opinion. It's such a great little like jumping on point for new people to comics. It's got a little bit of everything: action, suspense. There's the whole kind of like mystery and thriller side with the unknown villain kind of early on in the series. There's a ton of stuff there, but Kyle Higgins also, very notably, worked on a ton of Power Rangers stuff. So I would say probably most notably the Shattered Grid stuff. Where
he did the Shattered Grid stuff.
I'm pretty sure, that's all his stuff. So Shattered Grid, I think, was when they brought like Tommy from like an alternate timeline where he is evil. Lord Drakon, I think, is his name.
Oh yeah.
Sorry for the spoilers. It's like a 15-year-old comic. That's past the time, right?
The what do they
The
call
statute
it?
of limitations. Yeah.
Yes,
So
yes.
they bring back Tommy as like a bad guy, and he kind of runs rampant in the main Power Rangers universe, or there's like an alternate, I don't know, anyway, alternate future type of thing. And that's really good stuff. Very fun. The series really started to kind of like blossom, and people were talking about Power Rangers comics when those were coming out, not 10, 15 years ago. For the first time I had heard of. I was going to comic shops every week, and people were like, yo, you're reading Power Rangers? Like, no, I haven't watched a Power Rangers since I was 9 years old. What are you talking about right now? The guy put Power Rangers back on the map, in my opinion. And finally, Kyle Higgins, a lot of the youngsters would probably be happy to know this guy worked on a lot of Nightwing. So 2011 to 2014, I think it was. So that's got to be New 52 stuff, I think. A lot of that Nightwing back then was written by Kyle Higgins. He did like 3 volumes of Nightwing or something like that, or just a 3 years worth for sure. But yeah, so he's done other stuff, like Cowl is another series that he did. He did Batman Eternal from 22 to 39.
It's an impressive resume.
Yeah, he's for a guy who's like kind of new. Like, he did the Deathstroke Volume 2, so that's going to be the New 52 stuff as well, I think. He's contributed to a Batman annual. He did a little bit of stuff with Marvel.
He did the Winter Soldier 1 to 5. Yeah, I like that one. That was good.
He did also Supreme Power Volume 2 in 2011. So he kind of came into the scene, it looks like, in the early 2010s or so. And he's just been knocking it out of the park slowly but surely since then. And Kyle Higgins, if you ever see this, we're big fans over here. At least I am, because I'm reading your stuff. I don't know if you've been reading Radiant Black. It's fun, though.
First few issues, but I would for sure say like the Shattered Grid stuff is
the Power Ranger stuff.
Legendarily good.
Yeah, really good. So that's pretty well that. And what else can we chat about here? Are you sticking around? You want to bounce?
No,
okay, nice to see Ash. For the remainder of the video, I thought I would do 2 things. Number 1, chit chat with the people about the Disney event from last week, the D23 event, whatever that means. I think D23 is like some sort of, I don't know, insider industry thing where people go, they reveal a bunch of stuff. Here's what's coming down the pipe, yada, yada, yada. Most of the Disney stuff, we don't really care that much about as it pertains to the comic world. However, Marvel had their little presentation and yada, yada. So we got a Vision Quest trailer. Finally, the long-awaited Marvel show that will be about Vision. Pretty cool trailer. If you haven't seen it, I'll put a link in the description of the video. You can take a look at it there. It's looking cool. I'm into the idea. I think it's actually kind of funny because the show seems to revolve a lot around artificial intelligence. And as a society right now, there's a lot of, it's like a topical world issue, you know? We got to see Ultron in the trailer as well in his human form. So we get to see Spader hanging out in the artificial intelligence land, which is interesting. They showed the Doomsday trailer off, a new Doomsday trailer, which I think was the one that they showed at Comic-Con that was like leaked, but not, or at least a lot of it looked similar to the leaked one from Comic-Con. Yeah, it looks cool. We still have essentially no idea of what the heck's going on, but Dr. Doom's mad about something. What a surprise. Most importantly, I would say for the potential and foreseeable future for the Marvel films, they announced the X-Men actors, the first group of the X-Men actors. We got a Cyclops, a Jean Grey, a Storm, Emma Frost, Cyclops, Jean Grey, Emma Frost, and a Rogue. I'm pretty sure. It's a very the ladies are on front and center, and that's pretty cool. There's a lot of really compelling stories that they could tell as it pertains to Storm. They could do the Wakanda stuff because they just announced that Black Panther 3 at Comic-Con. That would be wicked to see like her and T'Challa, or like T'Challa's son, having some sort of relationship. We have Rogue, presumably at some point. They might. Listen, if I'm a betting man, I'm saying Captain Marvel 3, we send off Brie Larson. She's, put her time in. Do the storyline where Rogue, that would be crazy. Cyclops, I hope he gets his moment in the sun, but I don't know. The thing I really truly am most concerned with is just a rehashing of storylines we've already gotten. We've already had a Dark Phoenix saga. We've had it twice in the X-Men films. We kind of already been over the Boulevard Trask and the Sentinels and all that. And I know, obviously, that makes up a pretty significant chunk of what the kind of classic X-Men stories are about. But there's such a huge opportunity to do new takes on this kind of stuff that I don't know if going back to that well every 5 to 10 years is a sound investment, or it's just going to be an eye roll from the people. So you folks at home can let me know what your thoughts are on the X-Men casting and the situation. Are you more excited for the X-Men? Are you more excited for Doomsday and Vision Quest? Or maybe you're more excited for the 2028 stuff, the Black Panther 3, the Ghost Rider, and whatever the other movie is that's coming out that year that I can't remember right now. I think that's pretty much it for the video this week, fellas. Folks at home. Yeah, I think that's it. If you have any questions, comments, things that you would like us to chat about on the show, feel free to leave us a comment. Unless your name is Rob Liefeld, then I don't want to hear it, you grumpy old man. Have a lovely week. Toodaloo, people.